were born ready, don't you?
Born ready.
I'm always ready. This meeting is being recorded. Good.
Yes. Welcome to Prescription Punk Rock, our Quebec radio show. It's you, Johnner. I love the band. I love that project. There's a new split. But for people that don't recognize all of your beautiful face, punk rock face or voice, who the hell are you?
We are the Randy Bastards. At least three-quarters of the Randy Bastards.
Yes. The other quarter, I think, is at work right now.
So
and we're
it's
happy
cool
to be here.
It's really cool to have you. I mean it. I love the band, but for people that are unaware of the story of the band, how that crazy idea started up.
Ooh, that goes back. That harkens back a long ways.
We were in like a car crash in like
Let's get back in the past.
2007, and like what was it? Fish, your lawyer tried to sue us, and
Tried. Emphasis on tried.
but yeah.
No, none of that is true. This band started upon the breakup of two other bands, Roaming Bovine and Core Rotten, the remaining members thereof, forming a new band, unnamed at the time, soon to become the Randy Bastards. And then over many years, lineup changes. Now we welcome members of Lily Livers as our rhythm section, and we keep plugging away and making punk rock music and goofing off and having fun.
It's cool because when you start up the band, it was the decline of punk rock in a way. Because I remember when I started up the show in 2006, things were not that as good as right now. But you guys stick to it, and you know, I think it's a good timing right now, and things are so cool. But back in the days when you started up, how was the scene around you?
Well, Detroit's always had a great scene for rock and roll, punk, metal, ska. Ska comes and goes, but it was great then. It's great now. There have been changes of the guard along the way, but many of the same faces and new faces, fresh faces. I don't know how it is everywhere, but I've never felt like there's a lack of shows to go to, and I'm very excited about the bands that exist now. So I'll agree with you at least that the scene is good. It's a good time for punk rock right now.
Agreed.
Yeah, and Detroit has an interesting history because from what I get is most of people there really love culture, and it's not just getting to into punk rock. It's helping the rap scene. It's helping everybody to get noticed because it's the city. It's the whole thing that and I think it's really interesting. It's Jason Navarro from the Suicide Machine. It was like we were going to every kind of music because we fuel ourselves with that, and there was everybody were friends, so it's really cool and surprising in a way for somebody as me from Quebec, because it seems like it's a rough city after all, and there's really up and down with the economy of Detroit, and I think it's reflecting on music also. But I was for you growing in Detroit in that context.
You want to take this one? Yeah.
Oh, well, being the youngest member of the band, well, one of the youngest members of the band, I had a much different experience to the younger side of things. We started out, we played a lot of garages and stuff, and a lot of home shows helped up by like the teens of our time, were going on, and that kind of fueled, and like the people who were already playing around and whatnot kind of started to notice all these shows being promoted, thanks to the internet, as much of a help it is as destructive in nature. But it was weird. It was weird. I'll just say that. It was very weird.
And speaking of destruction by definition, Jay Navarro has probably he's been in a million bands. He's a great guy, but what's interesting about it is his bands over the years have varied from all the little subgenres of punk. There's been metalcore bands, there's been emo core bands, there's been straight ska bands, there's been ska punk bands. Like, he's really run the gamut, and everywhere I go, traveling, touring with other bands and things. Everybody knows that name, and he's definitely a great advocate of the scene here and punk rock in general.
Jay's also ridiculously friendly and very, very approachable. You can just walk up to him and start a conversation with him. He's really cool.
Yeah, the first time I met him, we spoke about 20-25 minutes, and my friend said, "Come on, we're gonna leave him alone." And when we start walking, say, "Hey, you guys, don't leave." And then an hour later, we're like, "Okay, we have to
Exactly.
go, Jason." No, we're gonna have a drink. And I'm like, "Wow, man, I didn't
Exactly.
expect that."
Exactly. And like you kind of like experiencing a lot of like, like I said, being a younger member of the band and in the punk scene and everything, you kind of start to meet the people who've been around and you realize how many of them are actually very fucking very approachable and very like just nice and personable. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like a weirdo in their own way, but a lot of people like to show it. And it's like that's one of the most approachable things about punk rock and these people is that they're all kind of weirdos in their own way that like their own stuff and channel it into their music.
And also form a great community.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's true. It's a community, and it have to stay that way. I don't get it. The people got their ego in the way because after all, it's all about the music. It's the music that put you there. It's something living for me, and I think for a lot of people too. And it's interesting that you have million way to express yourself through music, and you always bring something. And I think that that project is a good example of that. It's original, it's kind of different, and that's cool because that's what I'm looking. Like a lot of people from my age are into nostalgia, but I'm looking for something different, something that excite me. And when I hear the songs, we're like, good man, they there's a lot of influences and all put together with the chemistry. It feel that it's a lot of fun to play, and it's great.
Heck yeah. And piggybacking off of that, like you can kind of hear with some of the newer music, like you want to hear where like pop punk, ska, reggae, all these kind of things, you kind of want to hear where they're going. As much as it is like as much fun as it is to like listen to the old stuff and stay stuck in the times, it's also nice to see what the newer people are doing for the music, because it'll never stop evolving and it'll never stop changing. So why ignore it?
And it's great to see bands taking something you love from a nostalgic period of your musical experience and then put their own spin on it and make it a little bit fresh and new and different. And it keeps everything keeps going, carrying the torch.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And it's cool, because for many years, because we mentioned a lot, kids, but it's surreal to think that for many years we thought that, okay, there's no, it's all people from our age, like 35 to 50 that got into punk rock in their 90s. But man, it's so cool. Like since the pandemic, I see new faces and they are younger, they have all that energy, and with the radio show, I'm starting to getting all those new bands that are at the beginning of their 20s or are 17 or 18, and they started band during the pandemic. And fuck, man, it's different. It's another beast, and I love it, man. Like for many people, thought, I think it's gonna die there. No, man, there's always something.
It's funny that you said we're talking about the quarantine because, like, I feel like a lot of people went crazy during the quarantine and, like, when they, punk rock and like metal and more of those kind of like harder genres are like such a great way to like express yourself when you feel like you're going crazy.
Yeah, it's taking something negative and change it into something positive because nothing happened for nothing. I think there's a reason why it all happened, and we're learning a lot from those 2 years. And man, I could believe, like, I'm 41, being 17 or 16, stuck 2 years of those so important moments of your life.
Yeah.
I would be so fucking frustrated that I would like want to conquer the world, and that's what happening. When I see
Hell yeah.
Ben like the chat, I'm like, wow, man. It's like they're blowing everything, and it's different. It's garage rock, but the way they sing it, and then the energy, it's punk rock, and and kids see that and they start a band and they're doing something with that energy but differently. And that's what punk rock was about when it started up. Everybody had their sound, so it's cool to see that, in Detroit you still have the spirit, and it's in the band.
Hell yeah.
Detroit Rock City.
That's right.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We got Quebec Rock City. We're about, we're not that big as Detroit. It's kind of smaller, but the spirit is there too, man. And it's cool to see that, through time it's still, accurate and it's still going. And so with the release of the EP, first of all, good choice of band. How did you two band met? Through the road, through because you were a friend before?
Well, speaking of the punk scene in Canada, our good friend Jordy, who runs Faster and Louder Records and formerly a radio show too, we became friends. He's a big advocator of not only the Ontario punk rock scene, especially in London, but he's also a big fan of the city of Detroit and comes down a lot. We got to be friends. He's booked shows for us up in Ontario, and just a growing friendship, and like you said, this community that kind of comes about that we're all part of. And he had offered to put something out for us in his split 7-inch series. I think Fish gave him a little cajoling, but he came through for us, and
It's a nice evil alliance we got going.
Oh yeah.
We're
A pact
never
with
mind.
the devil.
Jordy is a sweetheart. I love Jordy so much. He just gave me this the Face Problem tape, and I just had a chance to listen to it on the way to work, and it's awesome. It's so good. Just balls to the wall, the entire thing. Oh, it's so good.
I think I wrote him back in the days of MySpace when he sent me some of his band. And yeah, he's awesome, and it's cool that it's still going. And as you mentioned, and back in the days when I started up Prescription Punk Rock, we were the few, doing a radio show in the whole Canada, and he was there, man, and that's cool.
yeah, there weren't too many internet radio or punk rock radio things back in the MySpace days, but MySpace was very essential for bands sharing music at that time. Now I feel like we're kind of in the Bandcamp era, where that's become a good platform, but also all these other platforms. Basically bands are grateful to have platforms at all, or anybody interested in their music. There's so much out there in the world with the advent of the internet. Everything's accessible, and of all the millions of things out there, if someone chooses to listen to us, it's very flattering, and we love it when people enjoy it.
Speaking of speaking of Jordy, he just gave me from Nick actually helped make this delivery, but he gave a little 7-inch compilation called "It's from London," and
Wow.
it's got one of his bands on it, the Glebes, I think they're called, the Glebes. And
Wow,
then
man.
also gave me your first time with the Hyman Smashers. And he said, I don't know who this one is. I don't think he has any affiliation, but he told me I'd probably like it. I think it's the Bugger Boys.
Hillbilly Bugger
Oh
Boys.
Jesus! Yeah.
Hillbilly
Yes.
Bugger Boys. He
Yes,
said,
they're well known.
oh,
We
hell
played
yeah.
with them on that time. You couldn't make it with us to Canada due to COVID.
Oh, for real?
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah, he gave me all those things, and he was like, he sent me a very funny message. He was like, I have something for you. just that. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you'll see when Nick gives you the delivery. I'm like, I'm kind of scared.
Please, man. Not a body. Not a
Yeah,
body,
right,
please.
right. A human hand in a jar.
Yeah. Look what I got in the fridge. CDs.
Yeah. That's good.
But yeah, it's the thing, man. Everybody playing part in the scene making it so good, and I think that everybody has, and that's how I see the radio show. It's being part of something, that need a lot of people to get involved for working, because there's not money. We're all independent. most of the band are DIY, and it's cool that way. I think it's the reason why it's so good right now, because when in the 90s it got the explosion, but the explosion happened when those bands didn't have any money and they were doing fucking great, man, playing, best, and then explode, and then the money, and it fade away for a couple of years, as mentioned. But since like 2010, like the things get back to it, and most of people are working. It's not a business anymore. It's just a playground. And I think that's why it's so interesting and exciting.
It,
Again,
al- it also shows that it's a labor of love, passion project, hobby for a lot of people. Whether you're able to make money or not is often irrelevant because you want to be doing this either way. You have something in you that you want to express or share with the world, and if you make money or break even or lose money, it doesn't matter because we're gonna do it no matter what.
I also like kind of went on a weird trip of like talking to people about like, what at the end of your life, what do you want people to like know you as? And I've always thought was like I could have 1,000,001 jobs in the world, but when I die, I want people to know me as a musician. You know what I mean? And what better way to prove that than just by like doing what a musician does, regardless of the fact. You know what I'm saying?
yes, it's true. It's true. And I think, like, I don't know the meaning of life, but through my experience, I think it's getting the most, because we have just that amount of time. So it's getting the most memorable memories. And that's the only thing you get, you get with you, what after whatever, but
Exactly.
it's we need connection, and I think the point of life and we all miss as human is to connect with each others. If we don't each others, we still have something that we can teach to each other, so just improving our skills and learning through that, and I think experience are important. So it's cool, and I think with the band, that's what you do. You connect with people through music, and everybody has a different experience, and I'm sure it's surreal sometimes that people talk to you about some songs and you're like, no, we were not talking about that at all.
Well, I do believe that songwriting is open to interpretation to an extent, and once you release something into the public, it becomes theirs. It's not yours so much anymore, and you can't go back and change it too much, or you can say what you mean by it, but what it means to somebody else is almost equally as important. And as far as the meaning of life, I do know the meaning of life. It's by Monty Python, and I have it on DVD. And as far as connections, I just connect the DVD player to the TV, and it all worked out.
Yeah, man, I remember getting wasted at my friend house and getting home late and opened the TV, and the meaning of life started up, and it fucking blow my mind, man. I watched that movie on mushrooms, and it still blow my mind, man. It's so funny, man. I love Monty Python. I saw everything, like the series, every movie. But the meaning of life is really special. It's kind of the best way to get into Monty Python. It's more cheesy and more easy, and it's so true, man. After all, they're not really making jokes. It's fact.
Cheesy and easy. We got to steal that to be our catchphrase.
Easy and easy. It's funny too. It's funny too because that's kind of one of the generational things where it's like I watched the majority of the Monty Python movies and all that kind of stuff, but I grew up watching The Whitest Kids You Know, which is kind of like a little bit of a younger scaled well, they're younger themselves, but younger scaled skit comedy group. And it's funny hearing that because I hear a lot of people talk about Monty Python, and it is usually the people who are in the generation above mine. And in my generation, we talk about Whitest Kids You Know all the time. And
Well, we had no
it's
business
funny.
knowing Monty Python. They're from a generation or two before us.
Well, there you go. Who's
But
carried on?
but some things are timeless, and film, music, art, anything, and we can all hope and aspire to be that. Maybe if
We
we're
can hope
lucky.
and aspire to be British in the 60s.
Yes.
But it's true. And when you see Ben, like there's a lot of Ben getting at it now that back in the days, they were not the big thing. But right now, people are freaking out. We're going to have 30 footfall for 4 days. And people in Quebec are just getting so excited because, through time, they start to learn about the band and it didn't come. So it's kind of rare. So there's a buzz around that. The Diesel Boys also releasing a new records after something like 20 years. And in the metal too, you know, you see Testament getting like what they deserve, Overkill the same, you know. It's all named that people were aware, but you know, didn't time to get through it. And you
It,
know, the
it
game
can
changer was the pandemic.
and it can be a grind too. I feel like half of the battle for these bands, they work, they tour, they struggle, and they gain some notoriety, but it almost seems like the bands that break up for a while get more hype when they come back. And
Oh, we got to do a farewell tour.
yeah, so we're
Yeah.
gonna start our
Why?
farewell tour like Kiss did in 1982.
Yeah.
And we'll just keep it going forever and ever until we're making, all the money.
I just saw an article with Gene Simmons, and he was like, a real good band needs to know when to call it quits. And I'm like, didn't you do like 7 farewell tours?
It's candy for my ears. I ate Kiss so fucking much, man.
I like him, but I just I think he said in interviews that like the band will go on forever, even if it has no original members. Like franchises now, nothing can die.
Holograms.
Holograms, new members, who knows what'll happen? But I mean, I have mixed feelings about it because you do like to see something you love die with dignity before it gets too terrible. But on the other hand, I never got to see the Ramones live, and I know I never will. But if I can see a tribute band, or if I can see one of the surviving members do a solo set, I'll take it. I'll eat
Oh,
it
absolutely.
up. So I'll even lick it up if we're talking about Kiss. But no,
Not that.
it's whatever makes people
No.
happy. I say live and let live. If something's not your jam, no need to hate on it or waste time with your negative energy. Just find something you love and focus on that, or make something you love.
It's so true. It's so true. I'm poking at Kiss, but actually, I'm lucky to be able to have media access to like really big venues, and I'm sure that Kiss gonna be one I have to work for. So, and maybe you've got to blow my mind. Maybe I'm gonna change my mind, but it's just the ego, and I'm like to poke them because and I'm
Oh,
a huge Iron Maiden fan, and I saw the video where
Ah,
that poor guy got to change his t-shirt for a Kiss t-shirt because the band said we don't do the interview with a Iron Maiden shirt. You're at a Kiss, show, and you have to wear. And they bring the shirts. And what I want to know about that story, did they actually charge him the shirt after like the interview? I'm kind of
Oh,
Probably.
sure.
All right.
that'd be good.
Well, what if what you love is hating on other bands, and you gotta create the evil anti-Kiss?
oh yeah, rival bands.
Anti-Kiss.
Yeah, like
now-
Megadeth and Metallica.
Now, like, what I want to know is why is Kiss meeting Scooby Doo? Have you guys seen this?
Is this
No.
is like
It's
they're doing it in real life?
It's a real thing. Like it exists.
Kiss
Yeah.
meets Scooby Doo.
They're the greatest marketing band of all time. Even if you don't like a band like Kiss or Insane Clown Posse, like you look at like them creating a whole genre and merchandise and lifestyle out of thin air, and I'll respect that no matter what. Like that's DIY, no matter how you look at it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they were straight guys, and I think it's another good thing. They weren't into like the craziness of drug and sex and rock and roll, so it's still accurate, and they're still deliver. I think because of that, they really take it seriously too and change the world. But still, it's Kiss. And I hate them.
And we can't disprove that. We can't disprove it because when you're at the Kiss concert, Eric, we won't recognize you because of all your Kiss face paint you have. We'll have no idea it's you.
Yeah, I'm just playing the game every night. I go to sleep with the makeup.
But you said something about egos, and people look up to bands or movie stars or authors for whatever reason, and like I'm a fan of being a fan of what they create, but I don't like to put people up on a pedestal. They're just people. You can love what they create. The art can do something for you, but ultimately, nobody likes an ego. Even if you're good at what you do, you have to be humble about it. And in the community aspect that we were talking about before, we're here to make friends and share and learn from other people. And, there's no room for egos and rock stars anymore.
Oh, it was a weird concept, and I think it had to die. And I think that was the point of the pistol when they started up. That's what to kill rock and roll and those entity, like Pink Floyd. It's not against the music. It's from their era. I love Pink Floyd, but I mean, I understand the new generation want to change thing and have something different, not re- reviving the same and thing over and over again. And I get you. Like, I mean, like you can like as a band when the fans came to you, you can take 5 minutes and it changed their life. I mean, I've got friends who meet their idols and they're still telling the story, man. 12 years later, it's like it actual happened and they're excited about it. And
It's a
yeah,
bizarre thing to be something else in someone's mind besides what you think you are. I don't know.
And we don't even need 5 minutes. Our songs are 2 minutes. We'll change your life in 2 minutes. Sometimes less.
It's funny too because when we saw Psycho Stick with Bathroom, we were sitting and talking to Alex outside, and I was sitting there like I could feel my hand shaking because I was like, I've listened to your band since I was 13. I'm like, and now I'm finally getting to see him. Like,
to clarify, we didn't see Psycho Stick in a bathroom. They played with our good Detroit pals bathroom of the future.
Yeah.
I prefer the bathroom story.
We should start a venue called The Bathroom.
But it's cool. It happened to me too, and it's cool to meet you. Man, I work almost like 15 years to get Bad Religion. And every time Epitaph, like, no, man, they don't do interview anymore. And if they do, it's gonna be on big radio station. We're sorry, Eric. And at 7/7 in 1999, yeah, 99, they write me like, if you want to do an interview with Bad Religion, you have 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the 7/7 in Montreal. And we did. And Brian Baker came and it was amazing.
Oh,
He was
nice.
really gentle. And yeah. And like he said, like, how can I be ego when people put me there? Like, thank you guys. I mean, if you want to talk, I'm here.
They are a wordy band.
They got a lot to say.
It's true. It's true. Guys, so how
They got a
gonna
lot
be
of
the rest
syllables.
of the years? Is there any chance to see you back in Canada? And
Yes.
if not,
No.
how
Maybe.
can we make it possible?
Well,
Never gonna do it.
like
You can't make us.
like I
I
said,
pissed,
Just
I
try.
pissed off the border.
we did.
Oh,
we did get
yeah,
searched at
yeah.
the border.
Yeah.
Jordy,
I mean, I pissed on the border. Sorry.
no. Jordy has been working very hard to get us shows in Canada. We have this record coming out on June 19th. At the end of, well, let's say the beginning of July, we have some dates coming up in London and Hamilton. There's talk about doing more dates with the Tarlex, who are also on the split with us at some point in the fall. So we will be coming back. Look for us, and we're happy to come back whenever we can, whenever people want us to play.
Oh yeah, man. We have to work something around Quebec also. Maybe later, but it's so cool. Like I said, I love the band, and of course, we're gonna do a huge special about the band. And fuck yeah, man, guys, thank you for your time. I wish like Zoom allow me more times. It actually said like you have 40 minutes, but it's actually 33 minutes. Fuck Zoom.
Zoom,
Zoom tax.
Yeah, and if you want more time, you have to pay an accountant. Fuck, man, I'm gonna buy you records and not giving a dime to Zoom. No.
Well, we'll send you one for airplay, and thank you for having us. And thanks again to shout out to Jordy at Faster and Louder Records and the Tarlex. It's been really cool, and thanks for having us. And we'll definitely come to Quebec if you want to see us there.
Just give us a place to stay and something to eat.
Yeah.
And yep,
That's pretty much our requirement.
we'll come get sweaty.
Vegetarian
that,
poutine.
that is something I can fix, man. You crash at my place. I love to cook. I used to work as a cook for many years, so make good food and everything. Is there somebody fall from the I heard
We'll do
like
it. We'll show up.
No, there was the door was shut in my front door.
Shut the front door.
I'm getting robbed.
And what's the best way for people that have a music budget and want to help you guys and want to buy merch?
Everything's available on Bandcamp. We have a CD, a full-length CD. We have a 7-inch split from before with 4 Detroit bands, and now we have the new split 7-inch coming out, and we're going to be working on a second record as well in the coming months. So, follow us on social media of your choice. Bandcamp, things can be ordered. You can also order things from Jordy at Faster and Louder Records. To save on shipping depending where you are, and yeah, keep us on the back burner of your mind and follow us, and you'll hear about shows and see about releases.
If you order something, Nick will probably send you some free shit.
Yeah, there's always freebies, stickers, buttons, cool
You don't
things.
know what you'll get.
We got some bobbleheads we're trying to get rid of.
Oh,
We did make
yeah.
bobbleheads of our logo guy, the Randy Bastard.
Wow, that is fucking cool, man. I've got a couple of them through what it's called, man. He's doing-
Agronautics.
Yes, Agronautics. Yes, I buff a couple of one, like the Milo thing, and yeah, it's cool.
Aw,
I love Bubblehead.
heck yeah.
So, guys, thank you so much again from the bottom of my punk rock heart. We're gonna celebrate our 15th anniversary as a radio show. Man,
Awesome.
it's because of Ben Like You, man. Having those moments, it's an honor. We're gonna do a huge special, of course, in a couple of weeks. So make sure I send all the details. We're not a podcast show. We're live in the studio, a radio station, but we have the podcast available right after the show.
Awesome. Well, thanks
Heck
for
yeah.
having us on Prescription Punk Rock. Thanks, Eric. We're the Randy Bastards, and we hope to see you all soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Like I didn't ask you. You just threw me an ID like that, man. How professional you are, guys.
Hi, we're the Randy Bastards. Goodbye.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye. Cheers. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
See ya.
Cheers. Bye in Canadian.
Prescription is what you need. No more inhibition.